guess was today pretty uneventful for y'all just with the way the first signing day went?
More so than in the past, obviously. Got a bunch of the guys signed up that early signing day, and so it was really just making sure everything was in place and getting everything wrapped up.
Do you like that? Your early signing period?
I think, it can go both ways. I think for a lot of those players, they're excited to be done with it and move forward. And, I think you can get some guys signed up that other schools may have interest in later on in the process and take them off the board, which is probably a positive. I think it worked out well. I'll be interested to hear high school coaches' feedback. A lot of those guys are trying to make the playoffs during that time, so I understand they want their team's focus on that and not signing day. But as far as Texas Tech goes, I think it was productive for us.
What other ways does it help? Did it help you guys start focusing on future classes and stuff as well? Yeah,
it did. I think the recruiting period becomes kind of an early spring recruiting type feel because you're looking ahead to 2019 guys and able to focus a lot of your energy, attention on those future classes and gathering that information and meeting with those high school coaches.
How different do you think that's going to be? This is the first year you guys can have guys official visit in April 1. How different do you think that will be if you guys are bringing guys in?
It's going to be interesting. those kids are really young to be bringing them on a college campus. So I'll be interested to see how that's done across the country. But you're talking about bringing a 16-year-old to stay 2 nights on a college campus. I don't know how good that's going to be for anybody. But we're going to see how recruits feel about it and kind of go from there.
Is NCAA added any more official visits, or is it still the same number that you're allowed?
Still the same number, I believe.
What can you tell me about these 2 tailbacks you signed? Targeted both of them in the late period, both Deshaun and Roderick both.
Yeah. What jumped out was just the production. Both went over 3,000 yards in their careers. Both can catch the ball. Both can do whatever you want out of the backfield. Tayzon obviously a little bit smaller, probably a little quicker back. Great hands, but really good at running between the tackle. Had some highlight play runs where he's running people over and making people miss inside. And Roderick, bigger body. I think 6'1", 190 we got him at. Tremendous athlete, 1,500 yards this year, 20 touchdowns, I believe. So what jumped out was just the productivity. Very, very good high school players that we think can transition in our offense.
I saw a lot of high school coaches and just kind of say they thought that he really flew under the radar. Why do you think that was with him?
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's a quiet kid, maybe. He just kind of goes about his business. He's not about putting his stuff out there. But I'm glad we got him because when you get around him and you see that his focus and how good he wants to be, it really jumps out to you.
Do you anticipate that one or both could contribute right away?
I would think so. We like where our running back position is at currently. De Leon, we anticipate being a member of this team this spring, and then Desmond and Trey King, and we'll have a couple others that have walked on. But I think with those guys' skill set, them being able to catch the ball to the backfield, do some different things, we're going to get them involved early and see how it works.
Same thing with the wide receivers, given everybody that's either left early, graduated.
Yeah, even more so there. I think with Kiki's departure early, opened up some things, and there's some bodies that we think if they can pick up our scheme fairly quickly, definitely can do it athletically. And so that's the key, just getting them in here, a lot of those guys in here in June and getting them caught up to speed because athletically it's a talented class. And a couple of those guys, Myler and Sterling, are already here, and so we'll see how they fare during the spring.
You guys signed 17 guys. Could you just kind of walk us through the numbers at 13 on offense and just 4 on defense?
Yeah, we were heavy defense last year and signed some late guys that helped those numbers. And this year just worked out that we were getting caught up on offense. And next year it'll be back to more evenly split.
How many defensive players did you want?
We had a couple more targeted. But what we've found the last couple of years is it's really nice to have that flexibility late with the grad transfers the way it's going and some late junior college players. And so I think we have 2 to 3 that we can kind of be flexible with here moving forward and see how spring ball shakes out other places and see what's out there.
With the way Coach Johns ran his offense at Western Michigan and Indiana, those guys use a lot of tight ends. You think you guys could target something like that in the late period here?
We'll see. We like the two, kind of tight end bodies we have, Tyler Carr and Dante Thompson. But if there's a player out there that we think fits, we'd definitely be interested. I think that's going to be something that he's really going to help us improve, our run game and some of those 11, 12 personnel sets.
Speaking of Coach Jones, who's going to call the plays next year?
We're still working through it. We'll kind of cross that bridge when we get there. But right now, just getting everybody caught up to speed and getting the offense on the same page.
What was it about him that really just stuck out to you that made you feel like he's the guy you wanted to bring in to kind of help run that side of the ball?
Yeah, he had great references, first and foremost, some coaches that I really respect and admire reached out. And when you meet him, his organization, his structure, his passion for the players, he wants to continue to evolve as a coach, continue to evolve his offense, and that was exciting to me. He's kind of a football junkie, always studying what other people do and trying to get better every day and in his scheme, and so we share some of the same views in that regard.
When you said he wanted to evolve his offense, do you share that you'd like to evolve your offense as well?
Yeah, I just think we continue to adapt to our personnel. We'll have a couple of very athletic quarterbacks competing to be the starter this year, and we want to give ourselves the best chance possible to be as good as we can offensively. And I think with 5 starting offensive linemen back and some really solid running backs, we get a chance to do some things in the run game that maybe we haven't previously. And so talking with him, he's excited about this opportunity.
And to follow up on that, he had last 4 years he's had 5 running backs, over 1,000-yard rushers. One of those was a Doak Walker Award finalist, if I remember correctly. How much more work would you like to do?
Yeah, I think the way teams are playing in the Big 12 right now, their defenses, the way they're playing this new coverage, you got to be more effective in the run game, and that's something we've targeted this offseason to get better at. So hopefully he can help us.
Who were some of the references that you mentioned that you said other coaches that you respected recommended beyond?
Yeah, I'll keep those to myself, but just guys that I have a lot of respect for and trust in their opinions.
With all offensive linemen coming back, plus signing 5 in this class, is it safe to say this is the most depth you've had on the offensive line? What does that do for the offense?
Yeah, it's been great. In the past, we've had to protect those guys a little bit, maybe some drill work and some other things because we didn't have many bodies to rotate through. And now you're talking about 3 deep and kind of some mixed-in guys running a 4th group. And so as far as practice goes throughout the spring, you can really grind those guys and be very physical and have physical practices. And that's a step up from probably what we've had in the past. If you get a guy hurt in the past, you're out of luck for a couple days practicing. And now having numbers to really go at it and having numbers on the defensive line is going to make for more competitive practices.
With the number at 17, did that kind of change with the way that obviously you gave a scholarship to Justice and all that? Did any of that have anything to play?
The only thing was, Justice and J.D. and High getting his 6th year back, but other than that, not really. Just have a bunch of scholarships on campus is what it came down to. Having 70 that are going to be able to go through off-season workouts and spring ball, that's huge. It's the most we've ever had, and we're excited about the depth that brings.
How many players were redshirted last year that will be available to come off this year?
That's a great question. I don't know off the top of my head. Somebody can probably get that number, but 5 to 6, I would guess.
Do you anticipate targeting a larger class in 2019?
We do, yeah. It'll be 25 players in 2019. We lose last year. I think we lost either 11 or 12 seniors, and this next year I think it's close to 24 or 25. So we'll be back up to a bigger class next year.
I guess in terms of your defensive class, I know you didn't sign that many. Did you have a focus or anything you were looking at? Was it tall guys, I guess guys that could kind of move?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a focus outside of trying to find guys we felt could provide instant depth. When you have 10 of 11 coming back and really most of your 2 deep coming back, we were being pretty selective and making sure it was guys that we knew could develop into what fit our scheme and hopefully provide depth immediately.
Is that the first time that you've been recruiting that you've been able to kind of do something like that? Because it seemed like the last 2 you had to find guys that could kind of.
No doubt. That was made it a luxury for Coach Gibbs and his group to search out guys and really be selective on finding guys that fit all their criteria, and we could have the luxury of developing.
Can you talk a little bit about Alan Bowman and what his skill set is and what he'll do kind of this spring to push your guys?
Yeah, he's very productive. I mean, over 11,000 yards in high school and 120 touchdowns, 4-year starter, which is rare, particularly in a 5A school. One of those guys who's a football junkie. He's been to every camp, done all the quarterback gurus he can do to try and perfect his craft, and that's exciting to me. He wants to be great. Smart kid, played in a very similar offense, and has picked things up so far pretty quickly. So I expect him to get out there and cut it loose. He's a guy who you can tell has a lot of confidence, and he's not going to back down from competition. So we'll get him out there, we'll put him in the mix, and see how it goes.
Is there a scenario that he could seriously contend for
being
a backup or a starter?
If he's the best one, he'll be the starter. It's wide open, and I think that competition is going to be what really helps that quarterback room. We first time in a few years, probably since my first year, that we've had a true quarterback competition where guys are healthy and competing at a high level, and the best guy is gonna be named the starter.
How many guys are competing for this spot?
As of now, probably 3, realistically, yeah.
With all the new facilities, new locker room, obviously SPC, new field, how does that help? And how do you foresee that helping in future classes?
Yeah, anytime you add kind of that wow factor, it's big. We know geographically it takes a little while to get out here sometimes, so you're going to get one shot at some of these kids making that trek. And so with the new indoor and the locker room, to make that first impression is huge for us. And we've definitely had positive feedback from parents and high school coaches and players of the difference that's made.
Over your time here, has your philosophy or your approach to recruiting changed at all? And if so, how?
Yeah, I think we're more focused now on making sure we get the right fit, the right player. In the past, when I first got here, it was probably a little more chasing stars to an extent, and now we're making sure it fits what we do offensively, defensively, the type of young men they are, wanting to be here, having a passion for football and a passion for this university.
Coach, the open slots are still on your staff. Have you filled those yet, and are you at a spot where you can announce who else is coming on board?
We're close. I expect an announcement on another coach probably by this evening or in the morning, and then we'll have one more spot to fill. But we're getting there.
Is there any difficulty recruiting these 2 running backs without a running backs coach?
No, our staff did a great job. Brandon Jones, our O-line coach, really stepped up. So did Emmett Jones, and kind of sold them on what we do offensively, coming from an O-line coach perspective, and that really helped us.
Jalen Hutchings, what can he kind of do for you as an early enrollee DT where y'all got obviously some room there for a guy like him?
Yeah, Jalen's a very talented player. He had the knee injury his senior year, but you're talking about a second-team all-district running back and kind of a one technique, and so that's a rare combination of explosiveness and just getting him here, learning our scheme, getting him in rehab, bigger, stronger, faster. I think by summer workouts and fall camp, he'll be physically able enough to compete for some playing time, but that's kind of a deep group, so he'll have to really step up to kind of crack that lineup.
Will he be able to go in the spring?
We're going to limit him. He'll do some individual stuff to start, and we'll just kind of monitor it from there.
He's 295 now, so he's added on some weight.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you speak to any of the preferred walk-ons, the kickers or K-Scout?
They can't do that yet.
Keyshawn Carter is one of the fastest guys in the state. Just what does he bring to us?
He is dynamic playmaker. We targeted him early. Obviously had some ties there. The last Woodlands high school wide receiver led the Super Bowl in receiving yards on Sunday. So we felt like we had a good chance to get him, and Coach Kidley did a tremendous job on their end recruiting him for track as well. And I think, talking to Keyshawn, he thinks he'll run a 10-1 this year in the 100, which would be phenomenal. And so he has game-changing ability, great young man, and I hope it works out as good for him out here as it did Danny. So we'll see how that goes, but excited about him and a guy we think can play right away.
Did that help? The fact that he was doing it?
It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt, that's for sure. I think anytime you can see a guy that was at your high school and come out here and then have the success he's had, to want to follow in his footsteps a little bit is it's pretty impactful on a young player.
Has been one of the easier positions inside receiver? I don't say easy, but one of the more positions that I guess prospects are more available to you. I guess that's what it is.
We can show a lot of good highlights of those guys. You put it that way. There's a lot of them, and Kiki will be another one that's making a lot of plays in that, next level when you're talking about Wes and Danny and Jakeem and Kiki. So yeah, I think some of those slot guys get excited when they hear Texas Tech.
Now that the Sports Performance Center is fully operational with track and everything, can you kind of speak to the value that brings to you guys to be able to go over there and maybe kind of just happen to bump into somebody that might be
well, I mean, we would never do that, Chuck. You know that. So I haven't done that. But, no, just being able to show off everything we have. If they are coming to track meet and they are a dual sport, they can see our side of it and see, all the players we have up in that building that are in the NFL and the quality of work they did in that setting. It definitely makes a good impression on anybody that goes in that facility.
Eric Ezekiel is a guy that you get signed that's a real explosive receiver out of DFW. What really jumps out to you about him?
Yeah, his length and kind of body control for being that long. Very skilled player for being that long as a junior. Had 20 touchdowns. Had a really good senior year as well, even though he was banged up. But great length, 6'3", 190, and tremendous ball skills.
Two more.
Myler, same thing. I saw him against Grapevine. He was balling.
Yeah.
Blew me away. What are your thoughts on him?
Same. More fluid and faster than I thought when I saw him in person. I think he really developed his senior year, 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, really dominated most of the teams he played. And getting him here early is going to be huge just because the biggest thing he needs to work on is the weight gain and strength gains. But he's a very talented wide receiver who has a chance to play early.
Coach, I'm curious on the recruiting process when you're sitting there and you're talking to them about coming to the school as opposed for the coach. Can you talk about that dynamic a little bit and the message you guys talk to with these prospective student athletes?
Yeah, I think that's something you always touch on. Obviously, in recruiting, people are going to talk about this or that or the situation. But the beautiful thing about Texas Tech is when you get out here and you get around the people and the student body and the fans, it sells itself. I mean, people fall in love with the university and the people and our alumni more than anything else. And so it really does. We try to get them out here, and once we get them out here, they tend to fall in love with it.
And that's the kind of person you'd really rather prefer than coming just because you're here or one of your coaches.
Yeah, you want them to fall in love with the university and be here for the right reasons and the academics and all it has to offer.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank y'all.